Okay. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics as known classics. This episode number 1560 and Doubleshot number 1454. Now, I'm talking about two series of individual issues. First, I'm going to talk about issues from Aquaman, volume. I'm trying to think. I think this was volume 7, if not. No, 8. Volume 8. Yeah, I'm discussing issues 58 to 65. I was originally planning to get in the trade to collect these issues, but my local library couldn't get the trade, so no choice but to do this. Now, I'm not going to discuss issue 66 for a really good reason, because that's part of the Endless Winter crossover. These issues here are also the final issues of Killer DeConnick's time on Aquaman. Now, aside from the fact you have Kelly DeConnick as the writer for this book, you also have Robinson Rucka on the artwork. Now, in these issues, basically, we have it where we start off with Vanko, where he's speaking to a very pregnant Mira, even though she's not pregnant anymore. We see Aquaman and Mira's beautiful daughter, Andy. Yes, this adorable little girl who goes around, but lucky enough, basically, she's protected by one of the people that Aquaman met at the start of this run. Also, Jackson Hyde is here, because he is. So you have the characters having fun and just enjoying themselves. And we also see that Mira is in a coma. Yeah, she's been in a coma. And, of course, Aquaman shows up with some flowers to comfort her. Who knows when she's going to have her coma. And then we see Dolphin, who's become part of this particular kingdom, the kingdom of Dragoon, ruled by Ocean Master. Yes, Ocean Master. Yes, this is actually set up. I believe this particular kingdom was set up during, if I'm not mistaken, this was set up during Dan Abnett's run. So you got to thank Dan Abnett for this. And Dolphin herself gets involved with this guy named Pilot. Yes, Pilot. Now, I should point out, though, in pre-Flash, when it comes to Dolphin, she first got involved with Aquaman during a period of time when he was separated from his wife. The second person she got involved with was Orm. Well, not Orm. It was Garth, a.k.a. Aqualad, a.k.a. Tempest. Except in this continuity, these two have never met. Also, I should call him Tempest. He currently, as of the last time anybody saw him in comics, he was in a relationship with Omen, a.k.a. I think his name was Lillian Jupiter. Yes. Now, here's the weird thing about this character. By the way, the trade that was collecting was called Echoes of a Lived Life Well. That's what it's called here. Yes. Excuse me, it was actually Liv Clay. Yes, that is who he was involved with. Now, I'm not really sure exactly why Dan Abnett decided to pursue them in a relationship, but that's basically what he did. Of course, also when DC Rebirth started, this was of course 5 years ago, he was doing this book along with Titans. Titans he did up until the final issue, which was issue 36. This book he did up until issue 42. That's how far he went with the book. He did 42 straight issues, then he left, and then you have the next 22 issues, actually 23, done by Killer DeConnick, with the exception of a couple issues. So we have Dolphin working with Pilot. Now, the thing with Dolphin is the way that she's written, and she's written as to be sort of like a mute, mostly anyways, or she communicates via telepathy. Yeah, that's the thing with her. She by far is never shown speaking. Now, Aquaman, despite the fact he's not able to be... Now, he later finds out that, while he's talking to a friend of his, that Vanko has decided to become engaged to Queen Mira. and his daughter has disappeared. Oh, don't worry, she's perfectly fine. And throughout these issues, you have Aquaman searching for her for the next couple issues. We'll also get a confrontation with Ocean Master. Yep, that becomes a recurring plot thread throughout this whole thing. Andy goes missing, and Aquaman searches for her. And this pretty much consumes a lot of the remaining issues of this run. Yep. There's also stuff in here with Black Manta, who makes his return. Yes, a guy who was just seen in, I believe it was the very previous story arc. Yeah. It was actually in the very previous story arc. He comes back here because it's Black Manta. Because, of course, you gotta have Black Manta. Yep. So, basically, Jackson asks his father for help in exchange for some information. And also, he gets sort of in the way to reunite with his mother in these issues. I mean, it's nice to throw in Black Manta because he is by far a really cool villain. So, they deal with searching for a particular baby. And you probably would think, given the fact that Black Manta has killed a baby before, he killed Aqua and Mira's first child they had, well, the child they had in pre-Flashpoint, which there's no mention of the fact that, how should I put this? There is no mention of them having another kid. This is by far the only kid they had because Flashpoint happened. So eventually, after 2 issues after she disappears, Aquaman finds his missing daughter, no problem. And of course, Raph that he has to deal with Vanko, and it's also a subplot with Dolphin and Pilot, who was implied to have a thing for each other. She is sort of also a mutate in a way. Me. I mean, I might mutate because, here's the thing. Dolphin first showed up in Dynamic's run. Well, this version of her is a creation of that. Now, here's the thing about Dolphin. Despite the fact she constantly hung around with Aquaman in the issues when he was a vigilante, trying to overthrow a dictator, there was no romantic attachment between the two of them. There was no hints that Dolphin developed an attraction to Aquaman at all. I'm sure she probably found him attractive, but there was no relationship between the two of them. Basically, they were just treated as like really good close friends. It was like a brother and sister relationship. And I like the fact we actually have these characters involved with each other. So after he hands off Andy back, he just deals with Vanko and his attempt to marry, well, Mira. And we have the wedding that consumes the next few issues. Which, by the way, does end with Aquaman finally marrying Mira in the final issue. Yep. Well, first it looked like that Vanko was going to marry Mira, but thank God that didn't happen. We also deal with the arrival of the tribe. Now, I am not really a big fan of the Widowhood at all. They're just a group of people. I'll get more to that in a minute because this particular group has become an antagonistic group throughout this entire volume. Yep. So, we have Ocean Master show up for the wedding, and of course, Mira does get married to Aquaman. We have a big fight happen between. We have Aquaman and Tallulah, aka the most recognizable Aqua Girl, who I should point out in this continuity, Tallulah never assumed the identity of Aqua Girl, and also she never had a relationship with Garth, because in pre-Crisis she did, and she also died. Yep. Also, they retconned it that Tallulah is Aquaman's stepsister. Also, she is Ocean Master's half-sister. So, yeah, 2 half-siblings. So, yeah. So, they have a brawl between father and son with Black Manta and his son, the current Aqualad. And also, in these last 2 issues, we also have him starting a relationship with one of the soldiers who he meets. Yeah, and they start a relationship because they kept the fact that he was gay. Now, I'll get to my final thoughts on this soon, where it relates to Jackson Hyde. Yep. And then we have the return of the Trench. First time since Jeff Johns' run, we have Return of the Trench, which is so cool. Yep. And they pretty much take up a lot of the stuff happening in these issues. And eventually, like, Jackson goes home to his mother, and then, of course, like, with family. And then, of course, in the final issue, 64. We have the final confrontation between Aquaman and Ocean Master. Of course, Arthur gets his trident back, and then, of course, League of the Widowhood gets sort of, in a way, released. Lots of big action to close these issues out. And then, of course, and finally, the thing we're waiting for since the end of the previous volume. Yes, this does happen here. Yeah, the thing fans wanted. These two to get married. So badly. And I found out a story called The Deep End. And they do have the wedding. Yep. And of course, then they have that, and that's it. Now, good story arc overall. I give it roughly, these issues, a 9.5 out of 10. Should probably open that there. My final thoughts on this volume of Aquaman. It's definitely good. There's nothing really wrong with this run. It's an absolute fantastic run for Aquaman. Yeah, it is. It's an absolute great run. Yeah, though it does end with the next issue, 66, which is part of the Endless Winter crossover. This is one of those books that got canceled last year by DC that, as far as I know, there has been no official explanation of why excuse me, of why this book got canceled. Yeah, there's no reason for it at all. And they said it had the final issue of the series this volume get released as part of the Endless Winter crossover. Yes. The biggest thing related to this one is the debate of should Aquaman and Mera get married. This was a constant plot thread throughout both Dan Abnett's run and Kelly Sue Honig's run. From a fan perspective, yes, they should marry. Now you're probably thinking, how was the marriage handled pre-Flashpoint? Well, technically, it did not happen pre-Flashpoint, even post-Crisis. This was a pre-Crisis thing, mind you. Yes, it had back in the Silver Age of comics, issue 18 of the very first volume of Aquaman, where Mera was allowed to marry Aquaman despite not being Atlantean. You see, the way they got around it is that they declared her an honorary Atlantean, and that's how they got married, and they stayed married for over 30 years until Peter David got them divorced, and they eventually got back together, and they were technically married, even post-Flashpoint. Jeff Johns considered them to be married. Well, that wasn't until the idiot Dan DiDio decided to say, oh, none of our superheroes are married. And from what I heard, Jeff Johns was not happy with that at all. Like, then how come I've been writing my characters as married the whole time? So maybe the common law marriage, I don't know. And at the end of the volume, we had the proposal. And then throughout this entire volume, this was a common plot thread. Aquaman marrying Mera. The fans wanted it so badly. We wanted to see this. I'm sure Dan Abnett himself wanted to do it too. But you want to know who keeps probably sticking his nose where it belongs? Probably Dan Abnett. Dan DiDio. I'm sure he probably say, no, we're not having these two. No. We're going to delay this. We're not going to do it at all. No. That's my person there what happened. And eventually, my guess is when Dan DiDio left, they probably allowed it to happen in the final issue of this run. Yes. Also, in case you're curious, though, about the character Jackson Hyde, like, did the current continuity turn this guy gay? The answer is no. And you're thinking, really? What was he like this in pre-Flash one as well? Yes. They kept the fact he was gay both pre and post Flashpoint. So this is not the fault of Ben Percy doing this because he's the one who brought the character in. This is not his fault. This is the fault of one of the writers who wrote Brightest Day. Yes, Brightest Day. The writers who wrote this thing were Jeff Johns and Peter De Tomasi. They were the ones who created this character, and they're the ones who acknowledged the fact that he was freaking gay. Now, here's something interesting to know when it comes to, well, Aqualad. Like, he showed up in Brightest number 4, released in August 2010. And then, just 2 months later, he appears in an anime form. Yeah, he was only around for 2 months prior to him showing up in anime. You see, on the show, he's straight. While in the case of the comic books, he is in fact gay. Now, you're probably thinking, like, was this built upon? It wasn't. It was kind of mentioned in the Ben Percy run, but wasn't built upon. It almost seems as though that for Jackson, there was something more with him in the Ben Percy run, but then he got dropped. Now, I don't know why he was dropped, because he was dropped from that book, and he was dumped in Aquaman. And Kelsey Hong just had to use him, because no one else bothered to use this character. And since this book ended, like, has he popped up in any books since this book ended? Well, he actually just got a limited series. Yes. Yeah, he actually just got a limited series that just started. Yeah. I think that's called Aquaman the Becoming, I think it is. Let me take a look here about that. Because I think that's the most recent thing they've done with the character. Let's see. Because I know, because I just read the first issue of it, and he got framed for a crime he didn't commit. And he got arrested by the Atlanteans, not the human police. It's Aquaman the Becoming, which is focused on him. But as far as I can tell, that's the most recent thing they've done with the character. Mira, I don't think she's done anything since this book ended. Actually, I think she's still appearing in Justice League with her husband Aquaman. And I would love to hear the reason for the cancellation of this book. I highly doubt it was due to low sales. Nope, I don't think it was. Alright. Moving on to Detective Comics. We are discussing issues 776 to 782. Yes, 7 issues. The first issue is basically just a standalone issue with a backup story, Spore. The opening story is done by Paul Boles and art by William Rudo. Yes, it is a story called Orphan. Really good image of the Batmobile. We have it where Batman is injured and he's going back to the Batcave. Everyone's wondering where the heck Batman is. So, it's kind of in a way almost like partially a story without Batman. I love the colors of this thing. It's so good. Yep. It's a nice standalone story, and I would love to see this in like a Tales of Batman type of trade. Just really good. Nothing wrong with the story. Just a good standard Batman story that has no regular, like, aside from that, you have Jim Gordon pop up here, but that's it. Now, obviously, this is supposed to have the Spore here, but this issue didn't have the backup story for that one. No, don't know why. I guess they decided not to include it. Issue 2 is done by Ed Brubaker. Yep, but this one does have the Spore backup feature. Yep. Where the Brubaker story is called Dead Reckoning. I believe this one takes up issues 677 to 777. I think it ends at 682. It's a 6-parter. Or these series of murders happening. And I think they maintain the same artist. No, they changed the artist. It's Tommy Castillo. Yep. So you have Batman investigates a series of murders with Christmas Allen and Renee Montoya. This is probably before she quit the police force. We also have Whisper O'Dare. I think it looks like Whisper O'Dare. Well, the tattoo might be her, but nope, it's not her. Just some random woman who just knew the victim. And then we have a guest appearance by the Penguin and the Riddler. Yes, the Penguin and the Riddler. Absolute great. Oh, I should point out, though, about the Penguin's appearance here. I think they took inspiration from this appearance from his animated series look. Because he got the webbed hands and the long nose. Despite the fact this is not in the animated series continuity, this is the regular continuity. And yeah, that's most of what Dead Becoming is. It's basically Batman solving a murder case that involves Two-Face. Yes. Spore is this very weird thing. It's not by J.C. Gunn. Yes. It's mostly just Batman just turned to like a spore creature. It has no dialogue. Just mutated. It's not that good of a feature. Yes. Now, this issue here, 707, I actually own this issue. I do not know where it is, but mostly put in this one, like, I got this issue from this was actually a antique store that actually had upstairs in its second floor. They had these, like, comic books, and this was one of them, and I actually got it. I don't know where it is, but... So this one, they're still investigating the murders, and it also involves the Batman villains. Commissioner Gordon is it? Oh, excuse me. Jim Gordon, he's not commissioner at this point. Yes, after the events of Officer Down, he retired from being the commissioner of the police force. Because he got old, so they replaced him with Michael Atkins, who remained the commissioner up until 2006, where Jim Gordon came out of retirement during a time skip and became the commissioner again. It's rumored the reason why he was removed, with Jim Gordon being a replacement, was because he was revealed to be crooked. Presumably, anyways, DC never explained this at all. So, we have a deranged murderer going after Jim Gordon now because of connection to Batman. Oh yeah, and by the way, we have this crime where apparently Two-Face is accused of being it because of the coins. So then we have guest appearance in this issue, not only by Two-Face and also Penguin. The Joker's here, Killer Moth, Mad Hatter, and the Scarecrow, along with the Riddler. So, who did it? And love the suit that he's wearing, which is also inspired by Batman animated series. His face, I believe, is also inspired by Batman animated series. Yeah, it's like these issues were heavily inspired by Batman animated series. This Batman issues came out in 2003, so Batman finds that apparently the Penguin, not the Penguin, I think it's supposed to be the Penguin, based on the hands. It's a penguin. It looks like he's been hung. And then we have a two-headed coin. More Spore stuff. Don't care about this feature. It's just not very good. With a guest appearance by Suitman who has to battle Spore. I found Dead Reckoning to be a lot more interesting story, especially since I love the covers. These covers are gorgeous. I just love them. I'm a little surprised, though, DC never put this feature into trade. These issues. Nope. Never did. Oh yeah, and from what I remember reading these issues, there's no appearance in here by any of the Robins. Though you would think that Tim Drake might pop up in here. Nope. Just Batman and Barbara Gordon. Yep. And Batman thinks he's close to the serial killer, but he gets away. And you have apparently a guard who's talking to Scarecrow. And that ends the issue. Moving on to 780. Where now we have that Catwoman is here. Yes, Catwoman is here. Yep, because the guy is targeting her now. And we have where Mad Hatter's eating his food, and he spits it out, and it's actually a poison coin. So he ends up in the hospital. So a guy named Salone, and then we have Catwoman helping out Batman for this issue, which is always great to see Catwoman. Killer Moth goes after this person along with the Joker. Now I like seeing Jim Gordon being visited by Batman. It's so really neat. I'm surprised though he doesn't own his own house, given the fact he was married to Sarah Essen. But this is actually just not long after her death, at least about 3 years afterwards. Then the Joker is pulled out and he has a conversation with Batman, and it ends 780. Oh, 780 also ends the Spar backup feature, a feature I didn't really care for. Now you have Gothenburg, who is pretty much takes the last couple issues. I believe this cover here is done by Tim Sale. Yeah, I believe Tim Sale does this cover. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not covered on the inside, but I think it's Tim Sale cover. So in Day of Reckoning Part 5, we have Batman have a conversation with the Joker. And it's presumed that Two-Face is responsible for all this, but not really. Yeah. Someone's clearly setting up him. And apparently it looks like that Two-Face has escaped. And this is something interesting, though. The lawyer visited Two-Face. It was Harvey Dent. Really? They're the same guy. They're probably going to explain this in the finale. Gothenburg is just a feature done by John Lewis and artwork by Stefan Granito. It's not... It looks like some kind of... It's... I don't know the best way to describe this. It looks like some kind of medieval story involving the Bat King. Yeah. And that was a standalone feature. And of course, Day Reckoning wraps up with issue 782. And there's a back feature to this one called The Morning After. And of course, then we have Penguin visited by René Montoya, who's being interrogated by him. We have Crane being interrogated by Batman. And this is all of our former patient of Crane's, who's become crazy. Named Salone, who apparently posed as Harvey Dent to give Two-Face out of prison. Really good epic finale. Who gets handed off to Arkham Asylum. Yep, as in the case of Becca feature, it's mostly put, the best way to describe it is just, well, pretty much like a guy who cleans up Crime Alley to clean up all the roses. Yep. Yeah, it's mostly for the guy who cleans up Crime Alley, even afterwards. There's a guest appearance by... The artwork in this story is just not very good. Just mostly just, well, Batman leaving flowers in the Crime Alley just the night afterwards, and someone just pick up the roses. That's pretty much the best way to describe it. Now, the first story of this one is fine. I like that the Dead Beckoning, that particular 6-parter was really good. I kind of wish that was in trade, but it's a really good story. So I give that feature a 9 out of 10. The Spore feature, the artwork is okay. I give that one a 5. The standalone stories for issue like 876, 776, and the last 2 issues. First one, I give that one a 9 as well. The 2 backup features for 781, 782. 782, I give that one 8. And the one for 781, I'm going to give that a 7. It's just an okay feature. Yep, but not much to say about these issues. Oh, also, as of these issues right here, I officially have closed out the 700s for Detective Comics. So now I gotta get down the 600s now. And soon, once I get into the 600s, I will have fully reviewed all the issues for Batman that come out Detective Comics since post-Crisis. Yep. So yeah, that's it, particular review, and that's it, videos today. So, in the case of tomorrow, probably Super Sentai. Okay, next video. Bye.